the discussion with Nicodemus, how do you enter the kingdom of heaven? It's not a hidden thing. It was clear in the Old Testament as well. Nicodemus, a teacher of law, ought to have known that. You're born again through the Spirit. Those who are born again believe. For those ultimately, for their sins, Jesus ultimately died because they will be saved. And they won't be saved today and lost tomorrow. They won't be judged. But those who don't believe, because they're not born of the Spirit, they are judged. And those that don't believe, who don't believe in the Spirit, because they were not born from the Spirit, don't believe in Jesus because they're born from the Spirit, they are judged already. And then ultimately, their deeds will be evil, and they hate the light, while the deeds of those other ones who are born from the Spirit, who won't be judged, their deeds are good, and they will come to the light because they want people to see their deeds. Verse 22. After this, Jesus and his disciples went into the Judean countryside, and he remained there with them and was baptizing. Okay, right. So he chased the people out of the temple, and understandably as well, Nicodemus did not want therefore to come to Jesus during the day after what Jesus did there in the temple. Okay, and now after the conversation with Nicodemus, maybe the next day, he went into the Judean countryside, and there he remained with his disciples, and they were baptizing. Okay, as we'll see later in the next chapters, actually not Jesus the one doing the baptizing. Even if Jesus did it, that would be Old Testament baptism, right? But it's the disciples doing it, and he remained there with them. Verse 23. John also was baptizing at Aenon near Salem, because water was plentiful there, and people were coming and being baptized. So in this area or vicinity, we know John the Baptist, but just mentioned John, I already explained why. He was baptizing there as well, at a place where there was a lot of water. Now, to get to this whole debate about baptizo, does it mean how much water do you need? I remember this joke about this Baptist pastor and the Reformed pastor, where this discussion, and this Baptist pastor went quoting verses and about everything, and to say water needs to be, and then he after an hour gave the Reformed pastor like a chance. But it's just a joke, and he said, like, how much water do you need? Do you need water up to here? And he said yes. So he said, no, I mean, that is where we sprinkle babies, kind of ideas, right? What's the difference? Ultimately, I mean, it's kind of a stupid joke in a certain sense, right? But this is so the plentiful. I don't see this here, the fact that plentiful. Well, maybe because you can say because I'm Reformed, I'm Baptist, babies kind of over for baby Baptists, not like the Roman Catholics do it, understandably. Okay, that I'm now therefore biased here. We've seen before John was baptizing in a different place, so now John is in this area, right? And the reason being because there's water. There's enough. There's plentiful of water. Okay, plentiful water does not mean to imply that there was the water in the Jordan there was this deep or anything. There's not enough water. Why I am as well saying this? Because in Acts, when so many people are going to be baptized, it's not mentioned anywhere. Where in the world in Jerusalem would have found so much water to baptize so many people in such a short time? There would not have been, right? And there's no mention there of plentiful water in Jerusalem or anything like this. This is just to show, again, to show exactly where John was doing it. Okay, this is where he was doing it, and the reason why he was doing it there is ultimately because now there's plentiful water. Drier season of the year, less water there, so he couldn't do it anymore. So it gives an explanation of why he moved from where he was doing it before to why he was doing it where he is now. Okay, because the water there is not plentiful enough anymore, and the water here is plentiful, so there's a good place to do it. Okay, so yes, they could have. I'm not now discussing the question of is it fully going to the water or not. That's just not what I'm discussing here. Okay, we will get to those points as well. I'm just pointing out the reason. This is an explanation given by John for why John the Baptist, that is, John is baptizing now here and not up there anymore, because there's not enough water up there, and there's enough water here for him to do it there. Okay. Verse 23. Verse 24. For Jonathan had been put in prison, so again in brackets, and that's kind of a later on addition. So it's just to show that John was still doing it here. He could still be doing it here because he was not yet put in prison.